Hello! I don't know why I said hello. It says hail. Hail, war chiefs, liches, commanders, and keepers. This is our last major patch prior to Reforged. In addition to sweeping enhancements to World Editor, it contains major updates to the rendering technology, and we've been making significant server patches in parallel. Progress isn't without its compromises. The team did their damnedest to get arranged teams working within the legacy system. We have made strides to that end, but we're unhappy with the experience. We decided it was more important to get this behemoth of a patch out the door than to continue to delay. That means AT will return with Reforged, not before. Aww. We deeply appreciate those of you playing on ladder and custom games, creating new maps. One day we'll look back at these moments in the crucible of change ruefully, but until then your passion fuels us. The march towards Reforged continues. What is AT? It's a range team. BattleNet has been disabled for Reign of Chaos. We've been encountering non-trivial issues connecting players over BattleNet 7 as we unify the game client. A prime example being disconnects caused by erroneous matchmaking between Chaos and Frozen Throne. Custom maps created with Reign of Chaos data are still playable. This affects melee only. A major benefit to this change is that players who owned Reign of Chaos only now will also have access to the Frozen Throne. I can't imagine that Reign of Chaos players will be very pleased with this, and I can't imagine Blizzard would have made this decision lightly, but it is true that players were matchmaked across ROC and TFT together, which resulted in immediate desyncs. It seems like a really silly problem to have, but I imagine it has something to do with the way that they are overhauling all the network and game code to make Reforged. Yes, there are still a small subset of players that play Reign of Chaos and enjoy that game more because of various reasons. It's different, more creeping, more tower creeping, more teching, and it's also easier because it has a smaller player base. There are some bug fixes. Runed Bracers will now accurately describe that it reduces spell damage and not magic damage. We have seen most of these in the previous patch preview video that I've done for the PTR. It's also on my YouTube. So we're going to try and focus mostly on changes. If there's any changes that you guys know of, feel free to point them out and I'll scroll to them instantly. For now, let's go to the balance changes and point out whether they are the same as the PTR or different. Windwalk gets a delayed cooldown counting, so you can no longer double Windwalk in a row, but the cooldown is 2 instead of 5 seconds. That's still the same. Critical is going to do a lot more damage again. Will benefit from claws and war jumps and so on in the same way as it always had been before the nerf a year ago. Devourer can once again eat mountain giants before their spell upgrade. Torrents get a 1/3 pulverize prior to upgrading it, after which they would get the full thing again. And it's also a little bit cheaper. Spiked barricades get stronger, only 2 levels instead of 3. Both of these changes were already covered in the PTR. Sundering Blades has also made it through with the same stats as described in the PTR. Orb of Fire is gonna be 7 damage, still do a healing debuff, but if I'm not mistaken it's less than before. Control Magic is also a new change from the PTR. It will cost more mana again. All Animal War Training get buffed a little bit in terms of cost and how quickly those units get some of their HP already. This was 50% Orb of Fire, now it's 35. And it was 5 damage, now it's 7. Ultravision, same. Life Drain, the same. Small Dark Ranger buff. This is a new change as well. Mana Burn will once again cost 50 instead of 60. I do think Demon Hunter has been a little weaker, and this is part of the reason why, but I do feel that this should have been reflected as well with a Mana Burn level 3 nerf, possibly. Well, that's just my opinion though. They say partly Keeper's more popular, but also we think maybe Demon Hunter's weaker. Druid of the Claw, +1 damage, minimum damage in bear form. I think this is also a good change. They were a little bit weak. Previously 4 damage had been removed. 1 is given back now. I think that's fair. Especially since Keeper is about to get nerfed. We'll get to that soon. This was from 1400 to 2400 speed, now it's only 2000. I think that's a good change, it was really fast. Hippogriff Rider, nothing big. Keeper, 100 vision less. 1 intelligence less, that means 1 auto attack damage less. Less mana regen, less starting mana, less max mana. It's a good change. He previously received this in the big slew of massive Night Elf buffs. So it's been removed again. Showing they shouldn't have touched it, this one. Tranquility will still have invul. It used to be 0, now it became 3, and now it's going to become 1. Force of Nature, -1 damage again. Gargoyle, still getting their buffs, but I think it's 375 speed now instead of 400. Necromancer, they're still going to go ahead with the complete rework in the order as described. I still don't think it's the best order, but we will see. This is going to be the truth. Last major patch, they said, after all, so I guess that's how it's going to be. So it's going to be Unholy Frenzy, AoE, third ability. Cripple coming early in a weaker version. This is also still same as PTR. Mana changed on Unholy Frenzy apparently. It's been raised to 175 mana and a 5-second cooldown as well apparently. Also less attack speed, 50 instead of 75. Okay, there's some changes. Thank you, Apu, for checking that out. Ritual Dagger is still coming. Still 125 gold, still 2 charges, still stock 1, still rocking the street, still the DRE. Sacrifice a friendly unit, 100, still. Damage interruption interrupts regeneration. That's new. Hey, but they didn't say over how many seconds. Heal 100 sounds like instant. But this is regen. And they don't say how long it takes. So it looks like they forgot to say how many seconds it is over. Maybe it's over 10 seconds or I don't know. So you can't use it mid-fight anymore. 5-second cooldown. I think it would be way too OP if you can use it mid-fight. So I think this is a fair change. It's mostly to keep up alternative strategies like Dreadlord, Dreadlord creeping or something. Lich Ghoul, Lich Cryptfiend creeping are now better. Alchemist, healing spray now has a cooldown. Yes. This was the only 0-second cooldown ability in the game. Tinker Rockets came close, but wasn't quite 0. So this is good. This is really good. Good change. Thank God. Thank effing God. Also, Acid Bomb, a little bit less damage on the primary. 15% less damage. And less secondary damage as well. 25% less. Primary damage, 10% less on level 2. Or 9%, whatever. And this one also less. Transmute. Less gold. Used to be 80, became 125 for whatever godforsaken reason, and is now going to be 100%. Alchemist useless now. Neat. I would not say so. I would not say it's useless now. Acid Bomb still has the same armor debuff that it had before. Heal Spray still heals the same amount in a single cast. Transmute is still a single kill. He still has Chemical Rage, still has the highest strength of Tavern heroes. He's still the only Tavern hero that can heal. Acid Bomb is still undispellable. Healing Spray still doesn't hit opponents. I'd say he's still very, very viable. So, happy nerfs. Gladly. Firelord buff, Soul Burn, 25 mana less, but does less damage. Lol. So it's more about the silence now, and it's a little bit about helping his mana expenditure. Panda Brewmaster, you'll note that this is very low damage numbers. Breath of Fire actually does more. It's because it's actually the secondary damage. So this only counts if you go Drunken Haze and Fire Breath. It's the tick damage that has been increased. So it actually doesn't change Breath of Fire plus Drunken Brawler at all. They didn't specify, but that should be clear. Double boots of speed. Cloak of Shadows you can now hide in the day, still same. Crystal Ball becomes a lower level item. Lionhorn of Stormwind __. It's going to be 2 armored, just like Paladin level 1. Periaptus cheaper, sells for less, buys for less. Ring are going to be overpowered. Please define damage interrupts regeneration for Ritual Dagger. Same as Heal Salve and Regen Scroll Pestilence. We just didn't get told how many seconds it lasts. Yeah, this is going to be really strong, I think. And this is the same as Dreadlord level 1 now. Sentry wards got nerfed. Much weaker than Witch Doctor sentries now. Good change because they're really strong. No more Tome of Experience. War Drums is now the same as Kodo Aura. And that's it. New map pool. And done. Plus map editor changes. This was the quick version of the patch notes. It is not yet live. So when it goes live, I'll let you know. And we're going to be playing some random games now. Until the patch is live.